Hi everybody! Welcome to my channel Panda Knows. I am your host Jack Mao. This channel will have all sorts of fun and useful information about, stuff. There might be Panda travels, Panda bakes, Panda draws, whatever I'm doing. But mainly, I am quite passionate about languages and linguistics. So what is better than starting this channel by ta-da! Panda Speaks! That's right. Today we're going to talk about languages and linguistics. But specifically today we're going to talk about loanwords in Chinese. That's right. Chinese is a very, very, very old language. So how does an old language deal with new stuff, right? So the answer lies in loanwords. A lot of words are imported from other languages. So let's talk about loanwords first. So actually, English is the king of loanwords. According to Wikipedia, 29% of English words come from Latin, 29% French, 26% German or Germanic. That includes Nordic or other like Dutch, stuff like that, and Greek. 6%, that's like the mother of all Western languages, right? Every language got to have some Greek. And 10% from others. Like nowadays, for example, Chinese and Japanese words are quite flourishing in English language. So I came up with this sentence. Jack is having sushi burrito, that is a thing, by the way, wearing a beret while reading a book on psychology. So in this short sentence, 4 words are from non-English origin. Sushi, burrito, beret, and psychology, right? There are Japanese, Spanish, French, and Greek. So you can see how just ubiquitous and everywhere loanwords are nowadays in English. So how does English do with it? English just take it, take it, take it, and it's mine, right? You can't have it. It's my precious. Well, not quite. English will have to modify it, modify every single loan words to make it easy for native speakers of English to pronounce. If we don't do that, it will be a disaster. So for example, what's this? As a Japanese speaker, I can tell you it's pronounced as tsunami. But how many of you can pronounce tsu if you are an English speaker, right? So what do? You take out the T. So instead tsunami, you pronounce it as tsunami. Another example is psychology, right? Greek has this ps cluster at the beginning of a word, but of course, we don't really say psychology. That sounds very pretentious. You just say psychology, as everybody does, right? We want to be normal, remember? So, in general, since English has a phonetic spelling system, that means letter system, so most of the words can be directly and or phonetically imported with minimum modifications. Because I can. So how would the Chinese do it? Well, I'm very glad you asked. It is a very long story, but everything starts with Chinese sound. So now you are looking at the entire possible sound system of Chinese, and specifically it's a syllable system of Chinese. So if you see the vertical lines, they are consonants, b, p, m, f, right? And then the horizontal ones are vowels, a, o, e, i, u, yu. And every cell represents a syllable, starts with one consonant and one vowel or multiple vowels. So as you can see, there are many empty cells in this chart. What does that mean? That means such combination of consonants and vowel does not exist at all in the Chinese language. Right? This is insane because why? We can pronounce all sorts of things by our mouth, right? But nevertheless, the Chinese language just doesn't have it. So remember this while we go along. Also, Chinese uses characters to represent the writing system. So each character only represents one syllable and it must contain one syllable, no more and no less, which means one character is pronounced with one consonant and one vowel or multiple vowel combination. So imagine if you have a short foreign word and we have to transliterate it into Chinese, it might result in many more characters. So for example, the name Gerard in English, if you translate into Chinese, it is translated into Jie, La, De. So in the original English, it only has 2 syllables, but the Chinese translation has 4 syllables because the L and the D must have its respective characters. So the letter L has one character and the letter D has another character. And so this is really troublesome, right? So Chinese must come up with some smart ideas to accommodate long or short foreign words to even be able to talk about new technologies and new stuff. So what kinds of Chinese loanwords are out there? The first category I call direct phonetic adaptations. So it's the most intuitive ones, just like English. I have a foreign word and then I can find the similar sounds in my own language and then adopt it. But what is different for Chinese is sometimes the character meaning is taken into consideration. We'll see what that means. So first example, sofa, right? In Chinese we call it 沙发, right? Just straightforward phonetic adaptation. Or 纽约, which is New York. Or the Greek letter gamma, right? Like it's in gamma ray or gamma knife or something like that. You just say gamma in Chinese. So not much to talk about. But what is very interesting is sometimes the meaning of a character is taken into consideration, not just meaningless sound combinations. So for example, Coca-Cola, right? So in Chinese we call it 可口可乐, 可口可乐. So it has 2 words, 可口 and 可乐, just as in English. But what is interesting is 可口 means tasty and 可乐 means be able to be happy. Okay? So this thing not only sounds like 可口可乐, Coca-Cola, but also means it is tasty and it can bring you happiness. Isn't that awesome? Another example is vitamin. Okay, in Chinese we call 维他命. It has meanings. It means keep his life. Isn't that fabulous? Not only it sounds similar, but also it has meaning that corresponds to what vitamin means or implies in this case. So I know you want more examples, so let's go for it. So the next example is Sprite, which in Chinese we call 雪碧. 雪 means snow, 碧 means a clear blue. It provokes some sort of cool and wintry imagery. So it makes you want to buy the drink when it's so hot outside in the summer, right? So next is mini, which in Chinese we also call it mini, but it has meaning. It means enticing you. So it entices you to buy the product, I guess. Next one is hacker. In Chinese we call 黑客. 黑 means black, 客 means a guest. It's a black guest hiding in the dark, and maybe we don't really welcome them. And the last example here is marathon. Marathon, 马拉松, right? Sounds very similar. 马 horse, 拉 pull, 松 sluggish. So it will make a horse, you will feel like a horse pulling a wagon for a long, long time, and then your legs become sluggish. They're just amazing. I'm fascinated by all this, and I'm shocked that I never realized how meticulously tuned those translations are in Chinese before. So next category, I call it phonetic and plus category or meaning. It's a hybrid model. Why there's a Marx head here, you'll see. So the first word is ballet. In Chinese, we call ballet wu. So ballet definitely from ballet, and wu means dance. So it's a ballet dance. Marxism, aha, here it goes. Marxism, 马克思主义. 马克思, of course, is Marx, and 主义 is theory. Okay, so the new Chinese word consists of both the phonetic translation and the meaning that we put it there. Next example is beer. It's called 啤酒,啤酒. 啤 definitely from the word beer, and then 酒 means alcohol. So it's a kind of alcohol that it's a P alcohol. What P is, it's from English. So the third category is the most exciting one. Forget about the sounds. Just create a new Chinese word purely based on the meaning combinations. What does that mean? So for example, computer, we call it 电脑,电脑. 电, electric, and 脑, brain. Isn't that amazing? We just forget about the whole computer sound business and just create the new words based on what it does. What is it, this thing? Right? Next one is even more hilarious. Owl. It's called 猫头鹰. 猫头鹰. A cat head eagle. Isn't that exactly what it is? Right? So that's an owl. So next one, giraffe. 长颈鹿, a long-necked deer. Well, because giraffe was from Africa, right? I think some traders brought the first giraffe from Africa all the way to China. And then Chinese people were so puzzled. What is this? And then they, being the longest time, they named it qilin. Qilin is this Chinese mythical creature that has all sorts of powers, and I think it's considered a son of a dragon or something. But in modern Chinese, they don't use this anymore, and they created a new thing called a long-necked deer, which is so self-explanatory. But by the way, Japanese still use qilin, which in Japanese is pronounced kilin, to mean giraffe. So that is a whole other story, how those words being transferred into Japan. We will make another video. Next one, cell phone. In Chinese, we call 手机, which means hand device. Isn't that obvious? You use your hand, you hold in your hand, and you operate it with your hand, right? So another subcategory of this category is words imported from Japan. So Japanese also uses characters, which were imported from China and Korea, maybe like 4 or 5 CE. And when the new Western concepts and technology came to Japan, they need to create their own words, right? So Japanese did a job. They helped us out. So they create new character words, and then China actually imported from Japan back. So for example, Japanese invented how to say telephone. In Chinese, we call it 电话. In Japanese, it's 電話. So it means electric talk. And another one, for example, democracy. Democracy, Japanese, 民主, which in Chinese pronounced 民主, which means people managing or people ruling. Isn't that amazing? It's exactly what democracy is, right? So, if all above categories fail, okay, some words just extremely hard to translate or to come up with ideas, or it will be very tedious or long for those self-explanatory ideas to be uttered, then we just use the letters, okay? For example, DVD, WTO, SPA, CPU, but of course we pronounce it with a Chinese accent. DVD, WTO, SPA, CPU, right? Oh, I hopefully didn't offend any Chinese. Wait, I am Chinese. Oh, okay, I'm allowed to do that. Great. All right, I think that's all for now. Hopefully you learned something at least, and I hope you appreciate loanwords in your own language more because language is never static. Okay, it constantly changes, absorbs, loses, and transfers sorts of words, ideas into one another. So I think this particular aspect of language makes the language and culture so fascinating to study, and then for scholars to find the links between different languages and different cultures and different thoughts, and how they influence each other. So I think that's all for today. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Yum yum.